Good evening, sir. Hello. Hello.
Hello, hello. Hello, sir. I am audible. Hello. Sir, you are not audible, sir. Not audible, sir. Sir, not audible. Sir, please, can you remove your headphones? फोन लगाओ, फोन की बात करेंगे, फोन लगाओ।
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
please.
Good. Good evening, all. Now, let me introduce our new guest speaker, Mr. Jayesh Sharma from iDiary IT Solution Private Limited. Over to you, sir.
Hello. Good evening to everyone. I hope I am audible to all of you. And if you feel that I am not audible, please let me know so that I connection also. Right. So thank you, uh, coordinator sir. I don't know your name, what your name is. So the first topic that was given to me for today's session was image enhancement as per the schedule. So we will be starting with this topic. So let me share my screen first. Okay. Okay, fine. So is the screen visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that given topic is image enhancement. So I will focus my lecture on the image enhancement part. But before image enhancement, I think some background is required for completing this topic. Like how do we perform image enhancement? What is the need? And what are the various methods and algorithms in that? But before that, I think some background is needed. So quickly, I will go through some background of the image enhancement. Then I will start with image enhancement methods. So when we talk about image processing, actually when we talk about image enhancement, then it's a topic under image processing. So before going into the detail of image enhancement, we must understand what is the motivation behind image processing. See, these things are linked. When you are performing image enhancement, then you have to carry out number of algorithm of image processing. So what is the motivation? So when we talk about the motivation, basically for image processing, we find two motivations. The first one is improvement of pictorial information for human interpretation. That means if we have any picture in JPG or PNG or TIFF, then how we can improve the quality of that picture so that any human being or in today's era, a machine can interpret that, because a lot of AI is going on in industry. So I will not restrict myself to the human interpretation itself. I will say improvement of pictorial information so that human as well as machine can interpret that information. That means we have to improve quality of the image, any image. So that is the first motivation behind image processing. And second is the processing of image data for storage, transmission, and representation of autonomous machine perception. So these are two motivation behind image processing, and I will stick to the very first point, that is improvement of pictorial information, because this motivation is useful for image enhancement purpose. So the concept of image enhancement basically comes from this point itself, this motivation itself, improvement of pictorial information. So basically our focus is on how do we improve the quality of the image, how do we improve the information present in the picture so that human and machine are easily able to interpret that information. Now that was the motivation behind image processing. Now I come to the quick definition of image and digital image. So when we are talking about image processing, or we say we are talking about digital image processing, then you might be aware that it can be defined as a two-dimensional function fxy. So right now I'm talking about image only. So it's a two-dimensional function fxy where x comma y are the spatial coordinates, and any value at x comma y pair, that is called intensity or gray level of the image. So let us say if you click an image using your mobile camera, then an image is formed. We don't say that this is digital image, an image is formed. And what image is? It is basically giving you a two-dimensional function fxy. Xy means any coordinate position xy pair, and any value at that pair will be considered as the intensity or gray level value. When your mobile camera is giving you JPG or in the PNG format, the captured image, that means image is being converted to the digital image using sampling and quantization method. Then we say that we have got a digital image. So you have clicked an image using your mobile camera, then an image is formed using this two-dimensional function definition, then digitizer, sampling and quantization processes are going behind, and image is being converted to the digital image. So how do we differentiate between image and digital image? So basically we say that when x, y, the coordinate positions, and the amplitude value of f, the value at x comma y pair, when all these values are finite and discrete, then we say that we have got digital image. So basically the overall process in image processing is image acquisition, where you are capturing the image. After capturing the image, basically you are converting into the digital image using sampling and quantization process, where you are making x, y and amplitude values are finite and discrete. So basically these points you have to consider as the background information. Now we come to the basic fundamental steps of image processing. So if you are familiar with image processing concepts, then you might have seen this diagram before. Then in this fundamental step diagram, you can see number of elements are there. So I will not go into the detail of these elements. So I will only focus on the two major parts. So when we talk about the fundamental step in image processing, basically the step-by-step process to solve any image processing related problem or machine learning related problem. So basically these are some steps. Few steps are optional and few are mandatory. So out of these steps, we can see there are two steps. The first one is image enhancement, today's topic we will be talking on, and another one is image restoration. So basically the purpose of both the steps are same. When we are talking about image enhancement, our objective is improvement of pictorial information. When we are talking about image restoration, our objective is same. Then how do we differentiate that, we will see in the later slide. But when we are talking about the fundamental steps, so today's topic will stick on only image enhancement part, but we will see the difference between these two steps. Now this is one example to understand what image enhancement is that we have seen in the block diagram of fundamental step. That means we are enhancing the image. So this is one of the example. Like in this example, you can say the first image that is referred as before, caption has been given before. So raw image is given, and after applying certain algorithms of image enhancement, you can see some background information has changed, some contrast has changed in this particular image. That means we are changing the pictorial information available in the given image, and we are getting a new image. So that is considered as image enhancement. For some of you it might be a degraded image, for some of you it might be an enhanced image, right? So that is subjectiveness in the nature, so that we will see. But that is, so there is some change in the image quality. So when we are making some change in the image quality, we can say that we are enhancing the image. Now let us consider another example. Now when you see the first image, this one, so when you are referring this particular image, then you can see nothing is visible, everything is blurred. So there is a possibility that picture has been captured in night, or some light parameter was not fair, so that the poor quality image is there. But when I apply certain image enhancement algorithms, then I get this output. And when I'm getting this output, I can easily identify that this is a number plate of a vehicle, and the number is like 5788. So that means we have improved the information present in the given picture, which was not visible at all in the original image. But after applying certain algorithms, we can see that certain data is there in this image, and that data is visible to us. Let us consider one more example. So in this image, you can see this is your input image. So when we talk about input image, there is a bridge, car is moving on that bridge, and there is some irrelevant information, might be some cloud or some object or some disturbance in the captured image, which is not required in that image. So my objective is to remove this irrelevant part or the irrelevant section of the image. So what I have to do, I have to apply a few algorithms under image enhancement so that I can get rid of this irrelevant area. So in the output image, you can see bridge is there, car is there, but this particular section is clear. So no irrelevant intensities, no irrelevant sections are there in image, so that I can only focus on the bridge and car, and I can execute my learning algorithms. So these three examples demonstrate three different things. The first one says that we have worked on the contrast part, we have worked on the color or intensity part, we are improving the quality. The another example says that we are trying to get some information from the image which is not visible in the original image, And the third one says that we have to get rid of the irrelevant grayscale values or irrelevant intensities. In other words, we can say that we have to focus on a particular section of the image or particular gray level values of the image so that we can infer more information from that image. So objective of these three examples are different. Now this is the basically objective of image enhancement that we talk about. That means brings out detail obscured in the image. So that was my example 2. In this you can see the detail was not visible at all, but after applying image enhancement algorithm my information was available. So I am trying to bring out detail obscured in the image. Then second one is highlight certain feature of interest in an image. Highlight certain feature of interest in the image means like this image. This is the example where I am only interested in bridge and moving car. I am not interested in any other area of the image. So I am only focusing on the bridge and the car, and rest of the section I have made clear. So this is my objective in second point. So this is the relevant example. And third one is subjectiveness in nature. This is very important. As I said in the first example, that for me it's a better image. For few of you it may not be a better image. A few of you may say that the color quality has degraded or the intensities have degraded, some blurriness is there in the image. So that is subjectiveness. Person to person the output quality may differ. For some images I can say that the better quality is there after image enhancement, but few people may say that this is not the good quality. There might be some better quality also. So image enhancement is subjective in nature. That means human preference decide what is a good enhancement result. So person to person the result of good enhancement criteria will change. So for me it is different, for you it might be different. So subjectiveness in nature, right? So this is one more example of image enhancement with colored images. Like you can see in the previous images colors were not there, but in this case we see that the images are colored. That means we can also apply image enhancement algorithms on the colored images so that the color component or the color values or the color intensities may change, right? So if I quickly go through my slides, then we find that when we talk about the fundamental step, then image enhancement is there. Image enhancement means you are trying to figure out some information from the image, then you are focusing on a particular area, and the most important thing is it subjective in nature. Subjective in nature means person to person the definition of good result might be different. You might remember that we have also said that there is one more point, image restoration. So basically I earlier said that image restoration is also doing the same thing. It is also focusing on the improvement of pictorial information. So what is the difference? So image enhancement means what happens in image enhancement. Basically you are applying some algorithm based on the disturbance available in the image, present in the image, and then you observe whether it is good or not. Now my output is good or not. But in case of image restoration, based on the disturbance available or noise available in the image, basically you apply some mathematical and probabilistic models and you choose your algorithm automatically, and this is objective in nature. No human preference is there. Once you have got the output, that is the final output. So what happens in image enhancement? In image enhancement we identify that a particular type of disturbance is there, a particular type of noise, that is a technical term. So particular type of noise is there, then we have to figure out for this particular type of noise which are the best algorithms we can apply. Then I will apply those algorithms one by one, and I will observe that which one is giving me the best result. So that is subjectiveness. When I talk about image restoration, my mathematical model will automatically identify the noise available in the image, and according to that noise automatically a method will be applied and the output will be given. But as a observer, I don't have any choice to decide whether my output is good or not. So that is image restoration. So image restoration is not the topic we will be discussing. We will focus only on the image enhancement part. So I hope that the basic fundamental behind image enhancement, why are we providing image enhancement, using image enhancement, it is clear. Before applying image enhancement technique, some more information is required as part of the background. So that is basic relationship between pixels. So as you might be aware that an image is basically a two-dimensional function which we saw in slides. Like in this slide you can see this is two-dimensional function m cross n. So m cross n image is there, and when we talk about a digital image of size m cross n, the lower bound is 0 and upper bound is n minus 1. And when we talk about height, lower bound is 0 and upper bound is m minus 1. And we are saying that this every point is a pixel, right? So we are talking about pixel. That means an image is a collection of pixels aligned in rows and columns. So when we apply an algorithm in image processing, we consider image pixel by pixel. So one pixel is considered at a time. So why I'm talking about these points, because when you are establishing the basic relationship between pixels, you should understand what is the meaning of this window. So when I say that this is 3 cross 3 window and this I comma j I am referring, so I comma j might be any pixels available in the image. So just choose any pixel in the image in two-dimensional matrix, that will be your ij. And the area 3 cross 3 area which is being covered by this pixel, that is considered as the neighborhood. So whenever you are performing image enhancement technique, you have to remember that in order to change intensity of a particular pixel, you have to consider an area nearby that particular pixel that is under consideration. So I comma j, any pixel, any random pixel or arbitrary pixel we have chosen, so we have to consider this particular area 3 cross 3, including the original one. So this is original position of the pixel. So if any pixel is considered, then this area will be considered. Now the most important relationship which will be used in image enhancement is neighborhood of pixels. So when we are talking about neighborhood of pixels, then basically there are three types of neighborhoods. The first one is 4 neighbors, second one is diagonal neighbors, and third one is 8 neighbors. So when we talk about 4 neighbors, then this was my original pixel which was under consideration, and the horizontal and the vertical pixels which are near to this pixel, the original pixel, these are considered as 4 neighbors. So pixel just above this original pixel and below, left and right, so these 4 pixels are considered as the 4 neighbors. When we talk about the diagonal neighbors, so just make a cross and the points or the pixels considered will be a part of diagonal neighbors. So you can see this is the first pixel, second pixel, third pixel and fourth pixel which are diagonal to the original pixel. These will be considered as diagonal neighbor. And when we talk about 8 neighbors, then all the nearby pixels are part of 8 neighbor, whether it is a 4 neighbor or whether this is diagonal neighbor. The important notation in neighborhood of pixel is when we talk about 4 neighbors of a pixel p, where pixel p is my I comma j, any arbitrary pixel I am taking with the coordinate I comma j. So if I have to define 4 neighbors of I comma j, then I will define it like n for p. So what is n for p? Horizontal and vertical neighbors of that pixel. When we say about diagonal neighbors, then it is represented as ndp, where p is the original pixel and nd is defining the diagonal elements of p. So when we talk about the diagonal elements, again 4 elements will be there which will be referred as ndp. And when we talk about 8 neighbors of p, where p is the original pixel, then all 8 pixels will be considered as all 8. You have to discard this original position because this is the original pixel. So 8 pixels will be considered as 8 neighbors and it is represented as N8P. So in a single matrix, we can summarize it like this. This was my first pixel that was under consideration. So this is N4P, 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 right? Then NDP, the corner elements, NDP, NDP, and all are a part of N8P. So this is the basic relationship, neighborhood relationship, which will be required when we will be discussing image enhancement algorithm. Because if this concept is not clear, you cannot go ahead with image enhancement algorithm and filtering concepts. Now, what is the objective of image enhancement out of these slides we identify? So the first objective is, or the only objective is, to process an image so that the result is more suitable than the original image for a specific application. So let us say I am working on a face recognition system. So my camera is capturing my face and it is deciding whether I am the authentic user or not. But due to some light factor, the captured image is not good. So image enhancement should improve the quality of that image. So my objective will be to process that image so that the resultant image is better than the original image for my face recognition system. It might be any specific application, but for that application you have to change the quality of that image, and the resultant image should be better than original image. If the image is degraded, then you cannot say you are enhancing the image. Number two that we discussed already, that is subjectiveness in nature, person to person. The quality of the output will differ. For someone it might be good, for someone it may not be good. And the most important thing, it is most interesting and appealing area of image processing because the output is immediately available. You are providing an image as an input, and again the output will be an image which you can immediately monitor. What is my output? Like, unlike any other algorithm in the post processing steps of image processing where output is not easily available or immediately available. So in this case, input is output, input image, output is also an image, and you can immediately refer your output. So that's why this is considered as the appealing area and the interesting area of image processing. Now this is the classification of image enhancement. So if we go through, then we find that basically image enhancement has been categorized into two domains. The first one is spatial domain and the second one is frequency domain. Basically these are the broader classifications of image enhancement. The further classification of spatial domain are point processing and filtering, and the similar classifications are there with frequency domain, point processing and filtering. And when we talk about filtering, then smoothing and sharpening filtering are there, and similarly in case of frequency domain, smoothing and sharpening filtering are there. So broadly when we classify image enhancement, then spatial domain and frequency domains are there, and we have to focus on these two. But most of the content in my slide will refer to the spatial domain, and we will see what frequency domain is and how does it differ from spatial domain. So we will talk about the broader classification first, and then we will go to the details of these classifications. So image enhancement basically is being divided into two parts, spatial domain and frequency domain. So when we talk about the spatial domain means we are referring the image plane itself. What do you mean by image plane itself? That means we are directly manipulating the pixels of the image. We know that at particular position x, y, some intensity is there, and if I override that intensity, then I am directly manipulating the pixels of the image. For example, pixel 10, 10 is black in my original image. So what I do, I write a program in any programming language, and 10, 10 is changed to white. So that is direct manipulation of the pixel in the image, and that algorithm, that procedure is under spatial domain method. When we talk about frequency domain method, then we are not directly manipulating the pixels of the image, rather than we are using Fourier transform of the image. So what is the procedure behind frequency domain methods? In frequency domain method, basically you have to obtain Fourier transform of the image through some algorithms, through some pre-specified methods. So get the Fourier transform of the image, then modify that Fourier transform. In case of spatial domain, you are directly manipulating the intensities. But in case of frequency domain, you cannot do that. You have to change Fourier transform, and Fourier transform cannot be changed in the same manner. So when you modify the Fourier transform, then we say that your procedure and methods are under frequency domain method. So when we broadly classify image enhancement, we have spatial domain methods where we are directly manipulating the pixels of the image, and the second classification is frequency domain, where we are referring to the Fourier transform, get the Fourier transform of the image, and then modify that Fourier transform of the image. So this is the difference, and all the sub classification of these two methods are based on this procedure only. When we are talking about any method in spatial domain, that will directly manipulate the image. When we will talk about any method in frequency domain, then it will be working on the Fourier transform of the image. So Fourier transform part we will see later. How does it work? Now we will focus on the spatial domain method, where we are directly manipulating the intensities of the pixels. So some background of spatial domain image enhancement. So up till now we have seen that image enhancement, through image enhancement methods, we are trying to improve the quality of the image, number one. Number two, we saw that some basic relationship is required. So we considered a pixel I, j, and we considered a neighborhood of that I, j. Typically it was 3 cross 3, right? And in image enhancement under spatial domain, there is point number 3, we are directly manipulating the intensity. For example, if the input intensity is x, then output intensity will be x dash. So our objective is to calculate that x dash, because x dash should be better than the original intensity x. So when we talk about the background of spatial domain image enhancement, that means we are referring to the aggregate of pixels composing of an image. That means all pixels you are considering in the image, you are directly operating on these pixels because you are operating on spatial domain, so you can directly manipulate. And the spatial domain method formulation, mathematically it is written as gx comma y equal to tfx comma y. This is a general formulation for spatial domain. Now, what is the meaning of this particular formulation? Fx comma y, if you remember, we talked about that fx comma y is an image where x comma y are the spatial coordinates. So we had used this term spatial coordinate, and we are working on spatial domain also. So fx comma y is an image, x comma y are the spatial coordinates, and value at x comma y, the amplitude value intensity, that is referred as fxy. So this is your input intensity or collection of input intensities. If we are talking about single value, then we are saying that this is individual intensity. When we are talking about complete image, then we are saying that is aggregate of pixel intensities. So in this general formulation, I will say that this is aggregation of the pixels, so it is referring to the input image itself. Then we have gx comma y. Basically gx comma y is your output image. So our objective is to improve the quality of the image. So input image I have given as f, and I am processing something on this image and I am getting new image. So new image will be gx comma y. That is again aggregate of output intensities, and output intensities have been changed. The third most important component, that is t. That is an operator defined over some neighborhood of x comma y so that the quality of the image is better. Now, what do you mean by operator? Operator means it might be any algorithm, it might be any method, it might be any processing which is changing your intensity from fx comma y to gx comma y so that the quality of that image is better. So T is a general operator notation which is defined over some neighborhood of x comma y. Now, what is this some neighborhood? That's why we talked about neighborhood of x comma y or neighborhood of I comma j. What is this neighborhood? So this neighborhood is typically 3 cross 3 because we have considered that we will be referring this 3 cross 3 area. So this is the pixel under consideration and we are getting this neighborhood. That means operator T or the algorithm T will combine these values somehow so that this value can be changed. That means new value of I comma j might be depending on these 8 or 9 values. So that is the meaning of the operator T, where T is defined over some neighborhood of x comma y. So this is defining a neighborhood. Basically the same image we have referred in another manner, like this was the area under consideration or the pixel under consideration. So we have referred 3 cross 3 window. Now new value or the new intensity of this pixel will be depending on all these values. It may depend on all these values. So how does it work, or any algorithm work in image enhancement? As I said that we consider all the pixels in the image, but we consider pixels one by one. So one by one means you have to move your pixel under consideration from left to right, and then you have to move from top to bottom. That means one pixel at a time. So in the next slide you can see, so if this is my original image, then first I will consider this point, the highlighted one. Then in the second step I will refer second pixel, then third pixel, then fourth and fifth. So in this manner you have to change your pixel under consideration. That means highlighting means when you are executing T, when you are executing your algorithm T or you are applying operator T, that means intensity of highlighted pixel will be changed. That's why we are saying that this is pixel under consideration. So similarly, the next row, another pixel in second row, third, fourth and fifth, and so on until we complete the image. So it is something like this. So this is the procedure for any image enhancement algorithm, whether we talk about point processing methods or filtering method, but the same procedure will be executed. The method will be same, flow will be same. So in this manner, you have to move your area or the pixel under consideration so that new intensity of each and every pixel is calculated and the image is enhanced. Okay, so just go through the classification part again. So in this classification part, we have seen that image enhancement has been divided into spatial domain and frequency domain. So we saw the difference between these two. Spatial domain working on directly pixels, manipulating the pixels, and frequency domain is modifying the Fourier transform. Now further down the line, you can see that spatial domain has been categorized into point processing and filtering. So what is the difference between this point processing and filtering? So just remember that we have seen this formula gxy equal to tfx comma y. Fxy is the image and gxy is the image and t is the algorithm which we are applying on the input image. So when we are talking about another classification of spatial domain, then we say that the simplest form of T is when neighborhood is of size 1 cross 1. So up till now we have considered that we were taking the default neighborhood, because we have seen in the previous slide that the default neighborhood is 3 cross 3, but that might be some complexity in the calculation. So we say that the default simplest neighborhood is 1 cross 1. So what is the meaning of 1 cross 1? 1 cross 1 means input pixel is its own neighborhood, right? So when we say that a 3 cross 3 image and I comma j is point under consideration, then there is no other pixel that is being considered as neighborhood. So the output intensity will only depend on the input intensity. Just go through this example. I have given you one example that my input intensity was of pixels 10 comma 10 was 0 or black. Then through some method I changed it to white. So this might be my the simplest transformation with neighborhood of size 1 cross 1, where I am only considering the input intensity and I am getting the output intensity. So whenever you are using the simplest form of transformation where neighborhood is of size 1 cross 1, where we are not considering any other neighborhood, then we say that the transformation is gray label transformation or intensity transformation function, where the form changes to S equal to TR. If you remember, I said in my previous slide that fx comma y will be intensity, single intensity, or it might be an image. So if you cross check this formulation with the general formulation of a spatial domain, then fxy has been changed to R and gxy has been changed to S. So R is basically representing your input intensity, the point under consideration. The point under consideration is passed through some algorithm T, and a new intensity is calculated for that pixel only. So we are not considering any other intensity. We are not considering N4, we are not considering ND, we are not considering N8. So when we are using neighborhood of size 1 cross 1, then we say that we are using point processing methods. So all the techniques in this category are point processing method. So point processing method means rather than using 3 cross 3 or higher size neighborhood, we will be using only 1 cross 1. Now just go through the example how this point processing work and what is the meaning of neighborhood of size 1 cross 1. So this is example of contrast hatching.
Excuse me, sir.
Upper bytes. In case of 0, yeah.
The voice is
Yes,
breaking.
please go ahead. Okay, okay, fine.
Now it's okay, sir. Now it's okay.
Okay, right. So when we talk about any grayscale image, then we know that 0 is black and the higher value is considered as white, and all the intermediate values are the shades from black and white. That's why we say that we are working on monochrome or grayscale images. So I'm assuming that in this case my value is ranging from 0 to 15. So 0 is black and 15 is white, and this is 4-bit grayscale image. That is total 16 values are there. It means that any x comma y pair will have a value from this range only, either from 0 to 15. So that means we are providing some shades. That is the concept of grayscale level. So I assume that you know that, because that is the fundamental before image enhancement. So that is grayscale image is there with 16 colors or 16 values. My objective is to change this grayscale image into pure black and white image. So I hope you have got the objective. We have a grayscale image. The color values or the individual values of the pixel are having the range from 0 to 15. So any pixel might have any value between 0 to 15, including these two values. My objective is to change this to only black or only white, no intermediate range. So how to do that? Basically, this process is also called thresholding, where you are changing your grayscale to certain sections or defining any value based on the grayscale values. So when we are saying that we have a grayscale value and the pixels are having intermediate range and the range from 0 to 15, and you have to convert it to a pure black and white image where 0 is black and 15 is white, then in that case you have to specify a range or a value which is considered as the threshold value. So this is your threshold value, which is referred as M. So what do we say if my current intensity or the intensity of any pixel is less than M, then we will change it to 0. If it is greater than equal to M, then we will change it to 15. So all the pixels having value 0, 1, 2, 3 up to M minus 1, that will be transferred to 0. So in our case, so let us say I choose 7 as M. So M is equal to 7. So what will happen? All the pixels which are having intensity 0 to 6 will be converted to 0. Because these pixels were also on the darker side, so we say that we have completely moved this pixel to the black position 0. And all the pixels having intensity 8 to 15, those values will be converted to 15. That means white. So your image will be converted to pure black and white image. So that is the concept of thresholding, as well as this is the example of point processing. Why this is point processing? Because in the new image, now this is your new image. In new image, if you talk about the intensity of any pixel, then the new value is only depends on the previous value or the original value. My original value was 6, then I applied the rule that value is less than 7, so change it to 0. So new value 0 is only dependent on the input value, because it was 6, that's why it was changed to 0. If it would have been let us say 12, then the new value will be 15. So the output calculation is only depending on the input value, and no other pixel is being considered in the calculation. So this is a perfect example for point processing, where output intensity is only dependent on input intensity. Now another case, we have taken the simplest neighborhood 1 cross 1, and we are saying that this is point processing. Now let us say if I change that area, I consider my default neighborhood, then what will happen? Then it is method considered as filter method. So this method is using more than 1 cross 1, that method is under filtering method. So filtering method we will discuss later, what are the various requirements of the filtering method. So right now I will only focus on the point processing part, but keep in mind when we talk about spatial domain, there are two further classifications. The first one is point processing. So when we talk about point processing, then neighborhood is only 1 cross 1, and my new value will only depend on the original value. So any other value should not be considered. When I talk about filtering, then instead of 1 cross 1, I am taking a larger neighborhood size. So it means that my new value will also depend on the neighborhood pixels and the values of those neighborhood pixels, and that process is called filtering. So that is the basic difference between filtering and point processing. So we talk about some point processing methods in spatial domain. So these are very simple gray label transformation or basic gray label transformations. These three transformations are there, and these basic gray label transformations are point processing. Also, you can identify point processing. So the first one is a transformation where we are calculating negative and identity of the image. Then we have log transformations, and down the line we have power law transformation and power and truth. Now we will see how these transformations work and how these transformations are changing the quality of the image. So the first transformation is identity and negative. So basically this particular diagram shows all three transformation. Either I talk about negative or identity or log or inverse log or power law. So all these transformations are visible in this graph. So the first one was identity. Identity means my output image is same as input image. So if I have to write a formulation for identity where output image is equal to input image, so input intensity is referred by R. If you remember, the formulation was S equal to transformation function of R. So S is equal to TR, where R was the input intensity and S was the output intensity. So S is equal to R when I'm talking about identity. So if you are writing any method or any algorithm for that, so you have to make the same value. So how to show that in graph? So basically this line at 45 degree is showing you the identity transformation. You take any value, let us say this value. So at this scale, horizontal scale and vertical axis, the value will be same. So this is called identity transformation, where the output will be exactly replica of the input. The second transformation is negative of the image. Negative of the image means the intensities will change in reverse manner. In reverse manner means if you go through this graph, then you can see that basically this is the transformation function for negative. So when my input intensity, because horizontal axis is showing R, that is input intensity, and vertical axis is showing S, that is the output intensity. So when input intensity is 0, then output intensity is L minus 1. Now what is L minus 1? So again I say 0 to 15. So this is 0 and this is my L minus 1. So what is L? L is equal to 16. That means there are total 16 values in my grayscale image. So this is 4-bit image. Right? So for 0 it will be L minus 1. If I talk about 1, then it will be L minus 2. If I talk about 2, then it will be L minus 3 and so on. So when your value is L minus 1, then the output intensity is 0. So you are getting the negative of the image. So this is the general formulation for negative of the image. If you can see in the slide, S is equal to L minus 1 minus R, the general formulation behind calculating image negative. So if you consider any value, let us say I take 12, when R is equal to 12, then what should be the new value of this pixel in image negative? So L is equal to 16, so 16 minus 1 minus 12, so 16 minus 13, so that is 3, right? So S will be 3, so accordingly your image will change. So this is a very basic transformation, image identity and image negative. Now we come to another one, that is log transformation. So what do you understand from this graph when I say that there is a log transformation? What is the meaning of this log transformation? If you can understand the graph, so the transformation function given in the form of graph, then you can very easily understand the concept of these transformation. Basically this graph shows that the log transformation, if you consider this particular up to this point, I will say up to this point, if you consider, then you will find that the input range is between 0 to L minus L by 4. That means on the darker side, because 0 side is the darker side and L minus brighter side. So up to this point, most of the pixel input cells are dark, but when I am talking the transformation, when I am applying image processing algorithm, image enhancement algorithm, then these darker pixels have been converted to wider output up to scale by 4. That means darker pixels are being changed to the brighter pixels. When my pixel range is on the higher side input intensity, then output range is narrow. What does this indicate? That my algorithm or my transformation function is changing brighter pixels as it is or with minor changes, but all the darker pixels are being converted to the brighter pixels. That means you are basically what you are doing, you are expanding the range of the grayscale value in output image. So basically this is the log transformation. This is the general function S equal to C log 1 plus R, where C is a constant and R is my input intensity, S is my output intensity. So it is mapping a narrow range of low grayscale values. Low grayscale values means values towards 0 on the darker side to a wider range of output levels. So up to this point, as I said, if you see, most of the pixels input values are on the darker side, but their corresponding output is on the brighter side. But when we talk about the brighter pixels, the output range is very narrow. So brighter pixels are not disturbed as much, but darker pixels are being converted to the brighter pixels. So basically it is spreading gray level values in the output. And when we are talking about inverse log process, this is just the reverse. This is compressing of gray level value, as you can see in this inverse log transformation function. So in the same manner, you can interpret that how this inverse log is working. So basically spreading and compressing of grayscale value is done by the log and inverse log transformation. This is the formulation for that. S equal to C log 1 plus R to calculate log transformation of any image. What type of image enhancement it is? As you can see, the transformation function itself says that you are working on R and S, where S is depending on R with some constant value. So this is point processing method because we are using 1 cross 1 neighborhood. Then we talk about the third basic transformation, that is power law transformation. When we talk about power law transformation, then just go through this value. This is nth root and this is nth power. And the general formulation is S equal to CR raised to the power gamma. Again, S is depending on R and two constant C and gamma. So again, this is point processing method because S is depending on R, so C and gamma are some positive constants. But how this power law transformation work? Basically, this power law transformation is working. If you go through the graph, you can see that if I changed the behavior of this nth root somehow, then it will be similar to log transformation. If I change the behavior of this nth power somehow, then it will be equivalent to inverse log. So you are right. Basically, nth root and nth power can be changed to any value. If you change this to this level, then it will also work as identity. If you change this to this level, then it will work as log transformation. So by adjusting the gamma value, you can change it. So let us assume gamma is equal to 1 and C is equal to 1. So what does it mean? It means that S is equal to R. So what was S equal to R? This was the identity transformation we have seen in the previous slide. So you can implement S equal to R or the identity transformation by adjusting the values of gamma. So if you have to spread the values of grayscale values, so you have to adjust the value of gamma so that the nth root behaves like log transformation. Accordingly, you can also adjust the value of gamma so that the log transformation works like this, or it can also work like this. So by adjusting the value of gamma, you can make any transformation through power law transformation. And this adjustment of gamma, basically this process is called gamma correction. So it's a technical term in image processing, gamma correction. In digital devices, display devices also, this term is used to adjust the brightness and contrast of the screen so that display is good. So this gamma correction basically automatically tries to adjust its value so that output is better. And when this process is automated, then we say that my display device is automatically adjusting my brightness and contrast. And when you are doing it manually, then you are talking about the older devices. So basically this is the behavior of power law transformation. So you can achieve any transformation function by adjusting value of gamma. So you can see gamma is equal to 0.04, then 0.10, 0.20, and so on, and you are trying to achieve different level of transformation through single transformation function, power law transformation. So whether it is identity or it is log transformation, any sort of transformation you can implement, right? So gamma correction process is there. You have to adjust your gamma so that your output quality is better. So if you apply power law transformation on any image and you are not getting good quality image, then what you have to do, you have to change your gamma value and you have to adjust it so that your output looks good. You have to change your value C. You can fix this value C and you can try to vary value of gamma. So you have to apply gamma correction process for the better output. Now in this example, you can see that on the left hand side, I am having a darker image. Some sort of darkness is there. Few pixels are quite bright, like this section is bright, but this particular area is quite darker. So I have applied power law transformation. Gamma is equal to 0.6. So when we are choosing gamma equal to 0.6, the transformation function is behaving like this. And when you apply this power law transformation on the input image, then you can see in this section some brightness is there because it is behaving like some modified log transformation. This section is quite unchanged because power law transformation, log transformation says that when you are expanding the values, the darker values will be expanded and the brighter values will not be changed much. So on the brighter pixels, you cannot find any difference, but on the darker side, you can see obviously there is some enhancement in the image. Take another example. Now my input is same, darker pixels and bright pixels, but I have changed the value of gamma, that is 0.4. So when you apply 0.4, then you can see the behavior of the transformation function has changed now. So now it has gone. So just go through this. Now it is providing more brightness to the darker pixels. So you can see this darker section has been changed to more brighter pixels as compared to the previous image. That means when you are reducing your value of gamma, that means you are expanding your grayscale values. Now just change it to 0.3. So when you are changing it to 0.3, this graph has been changed like this. So more brightness on the darker pixels, right? So this is one more example of image captured of a runway. Aerial picture is there. So you can see due to some clouds or weather or lighting factor, the image quality is not good. Why image quality is not good? Because this is quite brighter image, and when the image is brighter, then we cannot identify certain components in the image. We cannot analyze anything. So this image is quite brighter. So how to reduce brightness of this image? So when you apply inverse process of log transformation, that is inverse log transformation. So what was the objective behind inverse log? That was compressing the values. Compressing values means if my image is darker, if my pixel is darker, it will not be changed. But if it is brighter, then it will be changed to the darker pixel. So what we have done, we have chosen value of gamma accordingly. Now this is 5. Earlier we were taking in points, but now we have taken it 5. So the behavior has changed like this. So the darkness has been provided in the image, right? So by adjusting the value of gamma, either you can compress it or you can spread the values of gamma. So keep in mind, whenever you have to provide brightness in the image, your image is darker and you have to provide brightness, then you have to choose the lower side of the gamma value. And when your image is brighter so that you cannot identify anything, then you have to provide the inverse process so that gamma will be on the higher side so that the darkness could be introduced in the image. So this is the same example with different gamma values. This was the original image, and this is when your gamma value is 3. This is when your gamma value is 4, and this example is when your gamma value is 5. Now it depends on the user, it depends on the observer which one is good. For me, this image is quite good. For some of you, this may be good or this may be good. So this is subjectiveness in the nature in image enhancement. So according to subjectiveness, you have to choose your own value of gamma so that output is good for you, right? So as I said, the process used to correct this power law phenomenon is where you are adjusting the value of gamma. So I would like to, because now next topic cannot be covered in 2 to 3 minutes. So I will stop and I will start tomorrow with the same topic, and I will continue that. So any questions from the audience?
If participants have any query, please ask. I think, sir, no any query.
Okay, no problem, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Pardon?
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, what time tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning, sir, 10:30 a.m. Kindly fill feedback form. Students and participants, kindly fill feedback form. I already shared in the chat box.